So, good evening, everyone. So, today we discuss the computer network OSI model. So, let's discuss computer network. Computer network basically start with the OSI model. So what is OSI model and why it was developed? So, OSI model and why it was developed. So, the answer is actually the OSI stands for the Open System Interconnection. So Open System Interconnection, and the model is conceptual framework by the OSI ISO standards that standardize how the data is transmitted over the network. So it stands for the Open System Connection, Open System Interconnection, and Open System Interconnection, and it is a conceptual one. This is a conceptual one, and the technical one is TCP model. So conceptual, and it is standardized by the ISO. ISO. So computer network consists of OSI model. OSI stands for the Open System Interconnection, and it is a conceptual framework introduced by the ISO, which standardize how the data transmitted over the network. So, which standardize how the how the data transmitted over a network. Okay, and it is developed to enable the interoperability between the system. It also enable the interoperability between the different system and simplify the troubleshooting by the dividing the network into 7 layers. So it it enable the interoperability operativity and and interoperability between the different network different different network. Okay, interoperability with different system and simplify the troubleshooting, and also simplify the troubleshooting simplify simplify all the troubleshooting happening. Okay, and troubleshooting happening, and all it also divide the network communication into the 7 layers. Divide the network communication into 7 layers. Okay, 7 layers, 7 layers. Okay, so computer network consists of OSI model. OSI model is an open system interconnection. It is a conceptual framework introduced by the ISO, sorry, ISO, and it standardizes how the data transmitted over the network. It enables the interoperability between different network, and it simplifies that all the troubleshooting happen, and it divides the network communication into the 7 layer. So this is the intro of the computer network. So let me insert computer network date. Today's date is 7 November 2025. After that, second question arises. Name the 7 layer of the OSI model in order to explain and briefly. So OSI model consists of seven layers. So second question is that OSI model division and the layers. Okay. So OSI model divided into 7 layers. So first layer is known as, starting from the lower one, physical layer. Physical layer. So transmission of the raw data via a physical medium like cable and hubs. So these things happen in the physical layer. So trans, transmission, transmission of raw data, okay, raw data bits and and through and and through MAC addressing. Okay. After data link layer, uh, after data link layer, we have to know about the network layer. Network network layer. So what is network layer? So what is the feature of the network layer? So uh, network layer. So network layer help in the routing, logical addressing. All these things happen in the network layer. So routing, logical addressing, and the logical addressing and the IP things are happening in the network layer. After that, we have to know about the we have to know about the we have to know about the transport layer. Transport. So what is the feature of the transport layer? So feature of the transport layer is that end-to-end delivery using segmentation, checking the error control via TCP and UDP, all the feature end-to-end delivery, 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 end-to-end delivery features, segmentation, 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 error correction, error correction, error control, and the TCP and UDP. TCP and UDP things are here. TCP, transmission control protocol, and the user datagram protocol. So physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer. In transport layer, end-to-end delivery happens, segmentation, control, and TCP and UDP things are there. So after that, after that, after that, there is a station layer. Station layer. So station layer is for the establishment, management, and station layer uses used for establishment, establishment of the connection, manages the connection, and terminate the session. Terminate the session. Okay. Terminating the session. All things happen here. Okay. After that, we have to know the presentation layer. The I think this one is sixth layer. So this is presentation layer. Presentation layer. So in presentation layer, data translation happen here. So data translation happen, encryption and decryption happen in the presentation layer. So data data translation, data translation, translation. Okay, data translation and data translation. After that, encryption and decryption, decryption and the compression things happen in the presentation layer. Okay. Till now we understand the presentation layer. So we move forward for the next one is application layer. So application layer. This is the seventh layer. So application layer as the name suggested, application layer. As the name suggested, it is an interface for the user application. So as the name suggested, it is a interface interface for the user interface for the user application. Okay, interface for the user application. Well, like FTP, HTTP, SMTP, all the things. FTP, FTP for the file transfer, SMTP for the messaging, and this SMTP for the messaging, HTTPS for the browser access and browser control. So we covered all the seven layers, starting with So um, OSI layer consists of physical data link layer, network, transport, and the session and presentation and application. So physical transmission of data and data link layer, node-to-node delivery, framing through the MAC addressing. After that, network layer where the all the routing and logical addressing through the IPs are take place. And we move forward for the next transport layer where end-to-end delivery of the data happen in the segmented form where error control are happening through the TCP and UDP. So after moving forward, we reach to session layer, which session layer actually has the name session. So establishing the session, managing or terminating the session happen. In presentation layer, where the data is translated, encrypted and decrypted and compresses. In the last layer, application layer, it is a user interface layer where all the things presented to the. Okay, let's see. So OSI model consists of the seven layer. Okay, OSI model consists of the seven layer. Seven layer, whereas in TCP only four layer exist. Seven layer, whereas in the TCP, TCP model, seven layer only, seven layer, sorry, four layer known as application transport, known as uh, control Z. So four layer it consisting, and his names are suggested. Um, and the name suggested. This is application layer, application layer. Okay, after that application layer, then transport layer, after internet layer, internet net layer, and network layer. Only four layer exist in the TCP model: network layer, number layer. Okay, so OSI is theoretical one and TCP is a practical implementation used on the internet. Okay, OSI is a conceptual one and TCP is a practical implementation over internet. Okay, so next, let's move forward for the next question. Next question. Which OSI layer is responsible for the error detection and correction? So error detection and correction happen, and explain how it's work. The error correction and the question number four is this error detection and correction. Error detection and correction happen in the data link layer, ensure the correct error-free transfer between the node using the technique of CRC. CRC stands for the cyclic redundancy check, and ACK, acknowledge. Okay, mechanism. So error detection and the correction things happen. Error detection and the correction things happen in the data layer. Data layer. Data data link layer. So mm, this feature comes with CRC and ACK. So CRC stand for the CRC stand for the cyclic redundancy, and redundancy check. Okay, and ACK stand for the acknowledge. Okay, knowledge, acknowledgement. All things happen in this layer. So, and after that, which protocol data unit at each layer? PDU. What is the protocol data unit at each layer in OSI? So protocol that physical having the bits, data link layer has the frame, network layer having the packets, and the transport layer has segmentation, datagrams, and session layer consists of data, presentation consists data, and the application layer also consists data. The physical layer consists of the bits. After that, data link layer consists in the frames, network layer packet, transport layer segment and datagrams, and in session layer through session layer presentation. So next, move forward for the another type of question based on the layer specific question. So what are the responsibility of physical layer and how some common devices use at this layer? So answer is that responsible for the physical layer connection and transmission of the raw data over media devices like hub, repeater, modem, cable. The functionality of the physical layer is that the bit synchronization, bit rate control, and the physical topology. So let's discuss the difference between logical and physical addressing in the OSI model. So logical and physical address. So one of the important. So question number 5 as logical and so where we are. So we are seeing the this, okay, logical and physical address. Okay. So logical address. What do you mean by logical address? So logical address is simply pointing at the MAC address. So MAC address abbreviation is also from the physical addressing. So fixed hardware address used in the data layer, link layer. So MAC is a fixed fixed one and fixed one and it exists in the exist it used in data link layer. So data link layer. Whereas in where logical address is IP. Logical address means IP and is software assigned address. It is not fixed, it is software assigned address. Software assigned address. Software assigned address used in network layer. Used in network layer. Layer for the routing across network. Routing across across network. Okay. Okay, so let's move forward for the next question. Explain the function of data link layer and two sublayers. So data link layer, as we discussed earlier, it provides a framing, error detection, and the flow control and the MAC addressing. The data link layer is divided into two sublayers. So upper one, two sublayers. So lower one is a logical and lower one is a MAC address control. So let's see, it is a data link layer. So it's divided into two parts. Control. Then this is a data link layer, and this is partition. So draw. This is LLC, and this is M. LLC means logical. logical link layer, link control, and this MAC is mean media control and media access control. Okay, media access control. Handle the error control and the flow control, where MAC determine how can address the how can access the channel. So determine how can we access the channel, determine the error correction. So error correction happen in this layer. This is the data link layer division, DDL division into two form. Okay. So next question, what is the difference between the switch and router in term of OSI layer? Switch and router. So switch and router. Question number six. Switch and ROUT router. Switch and router and network layer. Network layer. Okay. What happen at a network layer when the data is transmitted, and what is the role of routing here? The network layer select the best path. The network layer select the best path routing for the data to travel from the source using IP address. It handles the packet forwarding, addressing, and path determination. Routing handle for the determining the destination, handle the packet forwarding, and the addressing the path determination. Where is the protocol based? Which protocol operate in the transport layer, and how do TCP and UDP differ? So TCP and net transport layer protocol are TCP, UDP, SCTP. So difference between TCP and UDP is TCP is the connectionless, reliable, and slower, used for the web and emails. Okay, and UDP is a no, no, TCP is a connection oriented, reliable, slower, and used for the web and email, where UDP is a connectionless, faster, and less reliable, used in streaming, gaming, and video calling features. Let's move forward for the next question. Name at least two protocols from the each layer. So naming from physical layer. Physical layer protocols are USB, SONET, NP. In network layer, IP, ICMP, OSPF. In transport layer, TCP, UDP. In transport layer, TCP, UDP. In session layer, double PTF or net voice. All things happen. In presentation layer, the security is very important, where TLS and SLS are given, or MIME, MIMEI, MIME. In application layer, HTTP, FTP, SMTP, or DNS. So what is the role of the session layer, and what are the synchronization point? So session layer manages the control dialogue between the computer. It manages, establish, and terminate the session between two computers. Okay. Synchronization point are the checkpoint added. Synchronization is just like adding the checkpoint in a data stream to recover from the crashes without the retransmission entire data. So it is like providing a checkpoint. It provides checkpoint this layer, and after that again the this happen. So this is known as synchronization. Synchronization point here checkpoint added in a data stream to recover if the crashes without retransmitting the entire data. Okay. What kind of encryption and compression occur at the presentation layer? Encryption convert the plain text into ciphertext. Okay. Compression means reducing the data sizes for the faster transmission. Encryption is converting the plain text to the ciphertext. Okay. And the compression means that reducing the data size for the faster transmission. Explain how the application layer interact with the user and network. How the application layer interact with the user network. Okay. Application layer provide an interface and the protocol for the network application to access the network services. Example, when you send an email, SMTP at application layer handle the message transfer. So if a two system cannot communicate properly, how would you use the OSI model to troubleshoot the issue? Okay. Okay. After verifying this IP and MAC address, we move forward for the confirm port number, confirming the of port number of TCP and UDP. Okay. After that, to verify the session setup, is the session is submitted or hold. So we verify the the session setup. Okay, and check the data format. And if the communication not happening, so we check if the data is encrypted or not. So check the data format. So data format for if the data is encrypted or not. After testing all these, we test the application layer services like ping and HTTP request. After all this, we check application layer ping or HTTP request. So two system not communicate well. We have to check the physical layer connection, verify IP and MAC, not port number of TCP, verify the session setup, check the data format, and this. If a user can access the website IP but not its domain name, which OSL layer might have issue. If a person in a network is accessing the internet, accessing the website and not getting the domain name, this must be a issue in the application layer. So DNS issue, DNS server the IP address. So the issue will be in DNS issue, DNS side. If the data packet are reaching the destination but corrupted, which OSL layer would check? The error correction and detection happen in the first layer is a data link layer. Second layer responsible for the error detection and correction using CRC and acknowledge or frame check. This thing happen in the data link layer. Explain this journey of the email message using the OSI model. Email journey. In application layer, email is written using Gmail. So SMTP protocol is used. After that, after application layer, it move forward for the presentation layer where data encryption and deformatting changes. Okay. In session layer, the connection established with the email server. Okay. Transport layer broke into the segment form. Okay. And IP address is added. Okay. Transport layer IP address is added and routing is determined. The data link layer frame created with the MAC address and the frames converted into bit and transmitted the signal. Okay. Why OSI model still relevant in today's world, even though the internet use the TCP model? Because it provides a structured layered framework for understanding and designing and troubleshooting the network. Even the modern TCP communication can be mapped conceptually to the OSI model. For understanding the basic root of the how the networking happen, we have to know the basic fundamental of the OSI layer. So let's stop this session. We cover all the OSI related